So maybe you're thinking, well, in some of these reports, I saw different groups. I saw haplogroup J. I saw haplogroup E1B1B. I saw haplogroup R1B or E1B1A. Which one of these groups are the bruise? How can we prove which one of these groups are the bruise? And it's easy. All we have to do is take a look at history to see where these grooves migrated to or went in great numbers. And then we'll go to those places where the bruise went to see which one of those haplogroups are there in great numbers. Will we find haplogroup J there in great numbers? Will we find haplogroup E1B1B there in great numbers? Or will we find haplogroup R1B there in great numbers, or E1B1A? Whichever group is there in great numbers, according to the old references, are the bruise according to DNA. Hallelujah. For example, in this particular reference, it says, Barbara states that in the reign of King John II, in about the close of the 15th century, large numbers of Brews were expelled from Portugal and taken to the coast of southern Guinea. So we are going to be looking at the coast of southern Guinea, where the Portuguese went to see who's there in great numbers. But let's take a look at another reference, and it reads, the first design of settling there was in the year 1486, but perceiving how many perished in the attempt and that they could better agree with that of the continent on the coast of Guinea, it was resolved by King John II of Portugal that all the Jews within his dominion, which were vastly numerous, so we're talking about a lot of these Brews, hundreds of thousands of Brews, right, should be obliged to receive baptism or upon refusal be transported to the coast of Guinea. Listen, it says, where the Portuguese had already several considerable settlements and a good trade considering the time since its first discovery. We're zooming in, we're keying in on the place where the Portuguese already had considerable settlements. That's where these Brews were sent to. So we're going to be looking at the maps to see which one of those groups are there in great numbers according to DNA. And here's another reference which reads, King John II in 1492 expelled all the Jews to the island of St. Thomas, which had been discovered in 1471, and to other Portuguese settlements on the continent of Africa. And from these banished Jews, the Black Portuguese, or the Negro Portuguese, as they are called, and the Jews in Luango, who are despised even by the very Negro, are descended. All right, so again, we're seeing that the Brews were banished. They were sent, and it says, to other Portuguese settlements, right? I'm focusing on that, fam, because what I want you to understand is that these Brews went to a specific place, to Portuguese settlements, and the Portuguese settlements were in a specific place, especially in the 14th century or the 1400s and the 1500s, right? They were in a specific place, right? And we're going to take a look at that here in the following slides. But just know that they were there in the area of Senegal and Guinea-Bissau. Initially, those were the places where the Portuguese settled. Let's take a look to see whose DNA was there in great numbers. But before we do that, let's take a look at one more reference, and it reads, in 1622, the Cape Verdean governor, Don Francisco, reported to the Portuguese king that the Guinea coastal rivers were full of Jews who were masters of the local regions and were quite independent of the crown. And again, this one is also referring to the area of Senegal and Guinea-Bissau. We're going to skip this next reference, and we're going to take a look at the frequency or the concentration of E1B1A. What we discovered was that out of all those haplogroups, there was only one haplogroup that had high concentration in the area of the Portuguese settlements. I'll say that again. What we discovered was that there was only one DNA haplogroup that had high concentration in the Portuguese settlements where the Brews were sent to. And you guessed it, it was E1B1A. On your screen, what you're looking at is a map of the concentration of E1B1A in Africa. And essentially, E1B1A is mostly concentrated, or the highest concentration is just in two places. The first place that E1B1A is highly concentrated is in the area of Senegal and Guinea-Bissau, which was the location of the Portuguese settlements where the Brews were placed there in great numbers. Hallelujah. The second place where you can find E1B1A in Africa in great numbers can be found in a place or location called the Kingdom of Judah, and not just the Kingdom of Judah, but also places just to the north of the Kingdom of Judah. And we will see why E1B1A is also found in high concentrations just to the north of the Kingdom of Judah. Now, on your map, you're looking at a map of the Kingdom of Judah. This is a French map, and you'll see 3 green circles. The bottom circle represents the Kingdom of Judah. You'll see where it says Judah, right? And then the second circle, or the next circle above the Kingdom of Judah, you'll see where it says Lam, right? And then the third circle above Lam represents country of Bambara, or it says country of Bambaras. So if you're wondering what's the common denominator between those 3 locations, or those 3 areas, those 3 areas are associated with the tribe or the Kingdom of Judah. And here is yet another map showing that Bambara is indeed above the location of the Kingdom of Judah. But let's take a look, because so we had those 3 areas, right? We have the Kingdom of Judah, which we have references which show that the Kingdom of Judah was indeed inhabited by Jews. But what about the area of Lam? Remember, we had those 3 green circles? So the second green circle above the Kingdom of Judah was called Lam. Let's read about Lam. And it says, inhabitants, according to the accounts of the people of the neighboring countries, the natives of Lam are Jews. Right? The native of Lam are Jews, right? Now, let's take a look at Bambara. So we know that the Kingdom of Judah is inhabited with Jews. We read that the natives of Lam were called Jews. What about Bambara? And it reads, a Jew who had accompanied a German traveler as far as Timbuktu found near the boundary of the Kingdom of Bambara a large number of Jewish Negroes. See that, fam? A large number of Jewish Negroes. Nearly every family among them possesses the law of Moses written upon parchment. And so remember when we took a look at that map, right? That map showing the concentration of E1B1A in Africa. One of the locations of the highest concentrations of E1B1A was the location of Bambara, where a large number of Jewish Negroes resided. And so that's where your DNA is found, in the highest concentration in Africa. All right, fam. And so